Hey guys. Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Welcome. All right, cool. Cool. All right, so we're about to get started, guys. Today's video, there was so many questions, and I figured um, it'd be good to go live to really walk through everything. So, so that's like the main purpose of the live. We're going to address, the topic of the day. Be sure to hit the like button if you just joined. I appreciate it so we can get some more people in here. Also, drop and let me know where you guys are tuned in from so I can give you a shout out. So we'll give it a little bit of time so we can get more people in. So drop and leave a comment below and let me know where you're tuned in from so I can give a shout out to so I can give a shout out to you before we get started. But I appreciate you guys for joining. All right. Let's see here. We got hmm, Timothy says, "Hey, Coach Black, what's up? What's up, man? How are you?" Okay. Let me know where you're tuned in from. All right. So we got Nigeria, Australia, Serbia, New York. Shout out to New York, Jamaica, Atlanta, San Francisco, Denmark. Uh, really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Okay. That was, let's see who else. And if this is your first time live as well, make sure you let me know. We got UK, Bahamas, Young Rob the Goat from Denver, Colorado, Angel from California. Okay, so really just want to say thank you all for being here. Okay, we're gonna answer or address the topic of how to pursue your ex properly. And really, this is a segue or branch off from today's video, which there were so many questions, so I appreciate it. So we'll address that, and then we'll get to the regular like Q&A section. So if you've ever been to a live, you already know how that goes. We'll do a question and answer where you can drop your questions in the chat section and I'll answer your question. Okay. Now, let me say this. We're only going to be here for an hour, so I'm not going to be here too long. And so, usually, what we do is if you want to skip the line, if you have a question you want to ask quickly, because I likely won't get to answer every single question, you can send a super chat and I answer super chat questions first. Okay. All right, cool. So hit the like button so we can get some more people in here because again, there were so many questions about um, how to pursue your ex and exactly what I was talking about. All right, so let's do it. Okay, so one of the most important things, and specifically what I was addressing in today's video. So if you are going through a breakup, okay, most times, most times it's because there was a drop in attraction. I've talked about some of the different reasons, and I've put out a lot of videos about what causes your ex to lose attraction. That's certainly something that happens over time. And so, specifically when it comes to interest level, investment level, as your ex's attraction is dropping, all right, it gets to a threshold below the 50% point, below the halfway mark. It gets to a point where they are no longer that invested. It gets to a point where they are no longer interested or invested in the success of the relationship. And they either start to pull back, they stop showing up, and eventually they break up with you. Now, what I was addressing in today's video happened because I spoke to multiple clients over the last few weeks where after they implemented no contact, so specifically, if you've been doing no contact properly for a good amount of time, for it depends on your relationship. Some people it'll take your ex a couple of weeks to reach out. Some people it'll take your ex a month or 2 months. But I was talking to a couple of guys specifically where their ex was starting to show interest. Their ex was starting to move towards them. She was texting. And I think in this specific case, I don't have the text messages in front of me. She even went as far as saying, "Oh, I thought about you," or "I miss you," something like that. So, how should you handle those types of situations? Some people think, and this is really what the focus of this video is, or this live, and the video I put up earlier today. No contact is not about punishing your ex. You understand that in most cases, this is about a drop in attraction. Now, if your ex cheated on you and really did things that violated the integrity of the relationship, that is different. Okay. That is different. But a lot of breakups, most of them, it has to do with a drop in attraction. This is when they tell you, "Oh, it's not you, it's me. I have to work on myself." So this is mostly attraction. And so as your ex's attraction starts to creep up and they reach out to you specifically, what should you do, especially the guys? And then we'll talk about the ladies. So what you have to understand when it comes to attraction as human beings, the basis of attraction is polarity. Polarity. All right. This is the masculine and the feminine energy. Now, you can say there's 100% biological differences between men and women and how we function, how we are wired, right? Our hormones, excuse me, that's huge. But also socially, we are socialized a certain way. All right, this is where cultural and societal expectations start to play a role. So traditionally, if you look at the average person, the man is going to get on one knee and say, "Hey, do you want to marry me?" Traditionally, the man is going to say, "Hey, do you want to be my girlfriend?" Or, ask the girl out on a date. This is the natural dance of the masculine and the feminine. Polarity. Attraction is all about polarity. And a lot of times, especially when guys get dumped, you stop showing up in the relationship in your masculine essence. That's the reality. You've dropped the ball on your purpose a lot of times. You are no longer having a separate life outside of the relationship. You're not hanging out with your friends. You don't have your own goals and purpose that you're pursuing. And then sometimes you also get to a point where you are not courting your girlfriend properly. All right. Dates, all of those things. So you're not leading the relationship properly. And what happens, like I said, over time, she will lose attraction. So once your ex re-engages, this is specifically for the guys first. You always, the first thing you have to do before you negotiate anything about the relationship, before you talk about the problems, before you tell her how you're working on yourself, all of these things don't really matter currently because she is no longer invested in the relationship. She is no longer invested in you. Now, we talked about the phases of no contact, and certainly your ex might just be curious at this point, but it does not matter. As the man, you have a role to play in the dance when it comes to polarity. You have a role to play when it comes to attraction. And your role is always the masculine essence, which is the leader. Okay. This is not controversial. There was and we'll dig deeper into this. There was a quote from a book I really like. So you guys should check out this book if you want to. I saved this quote here. This is from John Gottman. So if you know John Gottman, uh, he's one of the leading researchers when it comes to relationships and relationship dynamics. All right, and he has the Gottman Institute. So in his book he wrote called The Man's Guide to a Woman, I want to share this with you guys. Okay, he says research shows that what men do in relationships is by large margin, the crucial factor that separates a great relationship from a failed one. This does not mean that a woman doesn't need to do her part, but the data proves that the man's actions are the key variable that determines whether a relationship succeeds or fails. This is all about leading. So if your ex girlfriend texts you, again, outside of if she did things that blatantly violated the relationship, like cheating, physically abusing you, things like that, if it's just a classic drop in attraction, you always just go back to playing your role. It's not about, you're not going to fix the relationship in the first interaction. It is not going to happen for most cases. And I'll dive deeper. For most cases, she's going to reach out to you with some innocuous thing. Oh, hey, just checking on you. Just wanted to see how your day is going. There's even a book I like called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, I believe. It again highlights and illustrates the differences between masculine and feminine energy. The average woman, the average, okay, is going to be more fearful of rejection. And she's going to do things in a more indirect fashion. And so if you're waiting for her to apologize for breaking up with you, remember, this is not about some blatant violation of the relationship. It's about a drop in attraction. So you want her to apologize for leaving. She was doing what she felt was right in her heart based on the fact that in most cases, right, you were not showing up as well as you should have. Again, the research shows the man's actions by a large margin determines the success or the failure of a relationship. Now, I'm not saying that your ex-girlfriend is perfect. I'm sure she's not. Okay, I'm sure she made a lot of mistakes. Okay, trust me. But I do not want you to miss opportunities when your ex is knocking. Now, some people think, well, if I ask her out, that means I'm breaking no contact. It does not mean you're breaking no contact because she reached out to you first. That's the first thing I want to be clear. When I'm talking about pursuing your ex, I'm not telling you to break no contact. I'm not telling you to reach out to her first if she dumped you. That is not what I'm saying. But again, if you read the comments of that video, and I specifically talked to a guy that I alluded to in this video, and I won't get too details about his case, but she was literally reaching out. And in his case, he ran into her in public by accident, and she literally circled the park because he saw her, but pretended like he didn't, and came and cut in front of him, I believe. Okay, I think he was walking his dog or something. So again, she intentionally put herself into his orbit. This is feminine energy. Instead of just walking up to him and saying, "Hey, it was an accident," and then they had an interaction. Okay, that's feminine energy. So even after that, he was polite. So he handled that part well. All right, he was polite. He went home. After he got home, she messaged him the following day, all on her own. He didn't say a word. She messaged him and was saying things like thinking about you or something along those lines. And he had this whole interaction with her and did not take the bull by the horns and initiate, hey, it was good to see you too. Why don't we get together? That's your role. That is always your role. Forget about fixing the relationship. You're not going to fix it currently. Why? Because she's not yet invested. You have to reattract her. get her to invest emotionally, right? And when she's invested emotionally, then you will get to a point after a few dates where you start negotiating and talking about the problems. Okay. Okay. That's when you start talking about the problems. It's not going to happen initially. Now let's look at the other scenarios because some people are like, okay, well, she can certainly reach out to me. She can ask me out. Yes, she can. Is she likely to do so? It depends on your ex's personality. For most, the vast majority of ladies, she's not going to do that because to her, she's done her role by poking you over the shoulder, by saying, hey, by saying, oh, I thought about you. And when you do not help move things forward, she feels rejected. And if your ex is actually more of an avoidant personality, she's going to think that, okay, I did something. I tried to reach out. I tried to see if he was interested, and he just blew me off. That's what she's going to think. Now, let's look at the other scenario. Let's say, okay, well, she can go all the way. She can ask me out. What you have to realize is that if your ex comes to you and in the first message, they apologize, they ask to see you, they tell you they made a huge mistake. Think about it. That is 100% based on fear. That is 100%. So yes, no contact worked, and they freaked out, they got fearful, and they went all the way. What's likely to happen if they say that and you're like, okay, let's get back together or let's work on the relationship. The next day, they're going to have cold feet. They're going to start second guessing because you haven't done anything actually to re-engage, spend time together, have fun. Relationships or love should be playful. Love should be fun. Think about when you guys first started dating. What made you commit to each other is that you spent time together. You got to know each other. You did activities together. So if you miss that key part of actually reestablishing a bond first, even if your ex goes all the way, which is rare for the ladies, even if she goes all the way, when you come and say, all right, perfect, I'm glad you apologized, let's get back into a relationship, the next day or 2 days later or a week later, she's going to start second guessing. Because one, you just put all your cards on the table, meaning you gave her back the relationship instantly, which you shouldn't do. And two, you missed the opportunity to actually build attraction over time. Because that's what causes her to want to commit. If she spends time with you, you're laughing, you're having a good time, you get a little bit of space, she goes back home and she's thinking, I think I made a mistake. We had such a great time. So you're giving her new memories. All right. This is very important. And that is why I made today's video. And I wouldn't have made because I thought I've made it clear in other videos. But again, there's some people that just started watching, and maybe I've not broken it down to this level. Specifically for the men, I need you to get this. The basis of attraction, the most fundamental thing about attraction is polarity. So immediately she knocks at your door, your job is to just go straight into the masculine and go after where do you want the relationship to go? And if you're still interested, if you still have feelings for her, then you must set a time and a place or suggest getting together. Relationships are built in person, not over the phone. So a lot of times it's because you are fearful, like, oh, if I show any interest, she's going to reject me. That means you are still too attached. And again, this is not easy. Okay. I'm not saying this is easy. This is difficult to do. But if you're too attached to an outcome and you become so fearful, all right, most times That's when you're afraid to just go through the process naturally. I want you to think about this example really quickly. Let's say, and again, it will take you some time to detach emotionally a little bit. It's hard to do, but you can do this. So let's say you want to sell a car. Okay. Let's say you have a car you want to sell on the market. Obviously, you want to sell it at a specific price, but if you're open, you're going to accept the highest bidder, right? That's equal to the value of the car you're trying to sell. So let's say you put a listing of the car on the internet, Facebook, whatever, and you put your phone number on there. You say, hey, this is the car I'm trying to sell. Here's the condition. You got all kinds of pictures of this, car that you're trying to get rid of. Again, you're still trying to sell it for a certain value. And so let's say you start getting calls. And you get a call from a potential buyer, right? And they call you and they just start talking. They just start saying, oh, hey, how was your day? You answer the question, oh, yeah, my day was good. Right? And they start talking to you about whatever they want to talk to, but not the car you're trying to sell. Now you can sit on the phone, and some people do this, and you talk and you go back and forth. And now you've wasted 2, 3 hours talking about nothing. Your purpose as the person selling the car is to look for a serious buyer that can afford to buy the car, that is ready to buy now. So, one, you certainly don't sit on the phone. Let's say they don't bring it up and just talk and talk and talk in a conversation that leads nowhere. The other scenario, let's say they call, right? And you realize, okay, my ex is not saying, or sorry, let's get back to the car analogy. So they call you and they're not saying what you want to hear. So you're like, okay, so I'm going to be indifferent. I'm going to get off the phone. So they call you, they start, oh, hey, how was your day? And they're saying all this stuff, but they don't bring up the car. And then you just say, all right, well, hey, good talking to you. And you hang up. Well, what if that person was a serious buyer? Why not just ask, hey, why'd you call? Hey, were you trying to buy the car? This is how much I'm trying to sell the car for. That's the biggest distinction that you really have to understand. And there are, again, societal expectations. There's literally ways that men and women are socially programmed differently. Besides that, there's biological differences. Okay. When I'm coaching people, and I've sat on thousands of calls at this point over the years, I've talked to so many people, whether in DMs, in the comment section. When I'm talking to ladies, they tend to ask certain questions, regardless of the race, the religion, the background, the nationality. Again, because we're socialized a certain way. So if you want to attract your ex back, understand and really embrace polarity. It's important. Now, there are personality issues that can affect your ex's behavior, right? Is your ex a narcissist? Are they avoidant? All right. Do they have bipolar personality disorder? All right. But you always have to start first. You always come back to the fundamentals of attraction, behave, and always do your role. Always do your role first. Come back to the fundamentals. It is not, I promise you, no contact is not about punishing your ex. Okay. Now let's talk about the ladies. Okay. Um, like I said, generally speaking, um, you should allow the guy to initiate, especially if he dumped you, right? So he reaches out to you, and so you let him lead the way to where he wants it to go. But sometimes he's just breadcrumbing, right? He's just, seeing if you've moved on and things like that. So you give him some time, a few messages to ask you out. If he doesn't, you can leave the conversation. Okay, you just stay in your feminine energy and allow him to lead. Now, after doing this a couple of times, I make an allowance for you to initiate one time. as a woman. And understand this is definitely more of the masculine role. You're leaning into your masculine energy, but you do want to get clarity. All right. Is he afraid? Maybe he didn't handle the breakup properly. So he thinks, well, this is what she said to me last time. So I'm afraid that if I don't let her bring it up, she's going to reject me. It depends on his personality as well. That's why you make the allowance to do it one time. And this is after three separate reach outs. All right. Not on the same day, by the way. Three separate reach outs, and you're giving him the room to initiate getting together, and he doesn't. You can ask one time, just one time. All right. And it's always about how do you react to their answer. If you are less attached, and again, I understand this is it's difficult because you still care about them. But if you're less attached or less invested and you're not afraid, just like when you're trying to sell a car, you're not afraid that, oh, this is the only buyer. If you're working on yourself and you're improving and you're getting better, and someone calls you, right? All you have to do is say, are you interested or not? Like, and again, I'm not in a relationship, let's be clear. Don't say, hey, do you want to get back together? That's not what I'm saying. You say, when are you free? Let's get together. Relationships are built in person. So when I say pursue, like I said in the video, it's more so tongue in cheek. Okay. You don't literally chase after someone that dumped you. They must always initiate the interaction. Okay. So if you're watching this hoping that I'm going to tell you, oh, chase after someone that's ignoring you or blocked you, that is not what I'm saying. Please, let's be clear. The philosophy never changed. It was just surprising to me because I had talked about this before, but maybe some people missed it. It was surprising to me that I saw multiple examples over the last few weeks where a guy's ex, the lady, was reaching out multiple times and even showing high interest, and he did nothing about it. All right. And then I got a follow up, and I'll touch on this here. So he missed the opportunity. That was a couple of weeks ago. Now she's retreated into more indirect. And specifically, I made a video about this. So check it out on my channel where I talked about this is the exact way your ex will reach out to you: direct versus indirect versus direct, indirect. So watch that. It's a little complicated. I'm not going to dive into it here. But the point is, after she reached out multiple times and he didn't do anything about it, now she's retreated to more indirect types of reach outs, liking posts, liking stories. And here's the kicker: on Valentine's Day, she liked one of his posts. These are intentional. All right. And this is the only exception. So for the people here, let's say you missed an opportunity. All right. What I would do is I would consider it a missed opportunity. But the only exception is if now you get an indirect reach out from your ex, an indirect, not just reaching out to them for no reason. They're liking your posts on specific days, they're watching your stories, swiping up on your stories. If you missed the opportunity and you did not escalate when she was putting herself into your orbit, okay, you can reach out one time. Again, this is only if she's reached out multiple times and you missed the opportunity. If you only missed one opportunity, I would wait. I would wait longer and see if she reaches out again. See if she reaches out again. But I just want you to know this and understand this. Okay. You do not chase someone who dumped you. You let them come to you. But the guys always play your role. Okay. What if they only watch one story? So again, do not watch this whole video. Watch the first one once this goes live on the channel. This is not for the people. If your ex has not said a word to you, this is not for you. Stay in no contact. If your ex is only watching your stories, they have not directly said anything to you. Stay in no contact. I hope this is clear, okay? This is not like really, if you detach a little bit, you'll realize that what's actually causing you not to move things forward is that you are afraid, and you shouldn't be. Okay. All right. So let's do some super chats. All right. Let's do some super chats and we'll go from there. All right. So we'll do some super chats and then we'll get to the questions. So if you have questions about what I just laid out, drop it in the comment section. If you haven't watched, there's a lot of people again, and I understand this. Okay, sometimes the titles, okay, that's just like a YouTube thing. Okay, bear with. I always the core message will never change. No contact works, and it works very well. It works very well. Okay, but watch the video in its entirety. And I wouldn't have made that video if I didn't see multiple cases of guys not playing their role. You're not in the feminine. And again, a lot of times that's the reason you got dumped because you wanted her to lead. You're the leader. That's what statistics and research says. And of course, she has a role. Now, if there was cheating involved, that's a different story. She has to be accountable for that. And maybe you're like, I don't even want to be with my ex. That's fine. Or if she texts you and you flat out don't want to be with her, that's fine. Then you don't need to escalate. But if it's a classic drop in attraction, she lost feelings and things like that, you cannot be waiting for her to take the lead. That is just not feminine energy. Can she do it? Yes, she can, but it's not likely. Okay, let's look at some of these super chats and then we'll get to the questions, to other questions. All right. I am Naja Fuego. Naja, if you had a question, make sure you drop it in the comment section because I don't see it. I see your super chat, but I don't see any other question. Okay, famous says no contact for 2 months. He hit me up yesterday, wanted me to sleep with him. I wanted to know he's dating. I'm jealous and competitive, but can't chase him anymore. I just replied, okay, expletives. I'm gonna skip that. I feel dumb because he didn't reply on and off 7 years. Should I wait? Well, your mindset, big picture, is never about waiting for your ex. Okay, you're in no contact, understanding that there's a dichotomy to no contact in that a lot of it is working on yourself and improving your situation, but understanding that as you do this specifically, as you're not talking to your ex, scarcity creates value. So you're not waiting, but you will take an opportunity if you still have interest in it, and a lot of people do. So to your question, he hits you up asking to sleep with you. That's a lack of respect because men know that if I respect a woman, if I really care about her, especially after dumping or when we're re-engaging in the courtship, it shouldn't just jump to, hey, I wanna hook up with you. That's a lack of respect. So you definitely did the right thing by not going, but you shouldn't be asking who he's dating and things like that because that's showing too much interest, especially for a guy who literally after dumping you does not initiate, does not ask you to get together for a date. He says, "Hey, let's hook up." I would ignore that. Cinema Sweet says, ex ended 8 year relationship. Adamant she wants to remain friends. No contact for 4 weeks. She asked if I'm still going on holidays with her that we booked previously. Should I go or continue working on myself? You should not be going on holidays with your ex, especially an ex that wants you to be in the friend zone. These are the subtle ways that your ex is testing you. Okay. These are the subtle ways that your ex is testing you. So the fact that she wants to remain friends tells me you fall into that classic drop in attraction, meaning consciously she understands that, okay, he's a good guy. He's someone that I want to kind of keep around in case the grass isn't greener. So consciously, that tells me you're probably a great guy, a great person. But she's trying to see, now that you're in no contact, I'm guessing you said, hey, I don't want to be friends. She's trying to see if you're going to go along with her leading. You should not go on vacation with your ex. No. Okay. So say no. Cancel the trip, get your money back. Simple as that. If she reaches out to you, and also remember, don't go 0 to 100. Don't say things like, oh, are you ready to work on this? Are you ready to get back together? You have one job, spending time together, and you are orchestrating that. You are setting that up. That's your role. So she texts you and calls you, whatever, and you just say, hey, why don't you come over? I got steaks on the grill, whatever, something like that. And if she says, no, I just want, or she says, well, I hope we're just friends. You say, like I said, I'm not interested in that. So if you change your mind, if you want to come grill steaks with me, let me know. Boop, get off the phone. But definitely don't do vacation. All right, Noah, dated for 3 months, went no contact immediately. Good. Met 3 months later, spoke shortly. Okay. She texted me the same evening, so I set up a date. Hang on, let's read this. Uh, she texted me the same evening, so I set up a date. Didn't go well. She still reaches out sometimes, but no real initiative. Go for the Hail Mary. Well, what specifically went wrong on the date? Was your approach the big thing that I see a lot of guys do, or a lot of people, especially guys though, is when you set up a date, again, you're hyper focused on the relationship. You're hyper focused on getting back together. And like I've said before, women are way more emotionally adept and intuitive than men. It's how they're wired, right? So when you're sitting across from her at your meetup, she can feel your energy. She can see the twinkle in your eyes when you look at her a certain way. Again, it's not easy to do, but I need you to work on detaching a little bit. Right. And also, if she was your girl, now you guys only dated for 3 months, she knows you pretty well. See, one of the things that the ladies do when they start dating a guy is she gets to know your habits, she gets to know your routines, because the better she understands you, the safer she feels. Like she knows, okay, this is how he normally moves. And so if you do something outside of what you tend to do, her spidey senses go up. She's like, something's off, or you're acting weird, or you're behaving different. So she knows you very well. Okay. And so I'm curious about what exactly went wrong on the date. Were you focused on the relationship, or were you in the present moment? The other example of when I talk to guys is they miss out on that playful banter. You're so serious because you're like, oh, I'm only going to get one opportunity. She reached out to you for a reason. She misses you. You bring something to the table. You are a catch as well. You are a prize. So if you can work on relaxing, not being hyper focused on fixing this right now, you will get to that bridge, I promise, if you play it well. So she tests you and she says, oh, you know, don't look at me like that. You can tease her. You're like, well, it's not my fault you put on that dress, right? It's not so serious. I promise. It's not that serious. Love is playing, right? Romance is like teasing, playful banter, joking. That's where you bond. And if you were already in a relationship, you probably have a similar sense of humor. So a lot of guys miss out on that when you do that first date. You're just so serious because you're trying to solve the problem right now. And in most cases, your ex is just not there yet. They can get there. They're curious, their attraction is building up, but they're not yet ready. And if you're not fearful, if you're not attached, just think about it like, okay, this is a first date, almost like you're going on a date with a new person. If you're a guy or a lady with a lot of options, when you go on a first date, you're not like, I have to say the perfect thing, I have to do the perfect thing. That causes a lot of tension, and that's why it gets awkward. Causes a lot of tension. It gets awkward because you're basically walking on eggshells. You're afraid to say this or say that. Okay. Very important. The other reason why it's not necessary to talk about the issues or try to fix everything is because, like I said, they're not yet invested. But in most cases, they're going to get defensive. If you go on a first date and you're trying to blame your ex for everything, and I'm not saying your ex is perfect. I just want you to understand attraction flows a certain way. And until they start to become emotionally invested again, it's very easy for them to walk away. All right. All right. Let's see. The next question is from, and hey, if you're just joining, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you missed the topic, all right, this video is going to go, it's going to be on my channel once we end the live stream. It's going to be on my channel. So hit the live tab when you go to the channel so you can watch the full video where I break down what I'm talking about. All right. Let's see here. So Ray Shauna broke up with my ex who's an avoidant. I didn't trust him because I've only been to his house once during a 2-year relationship. Yeah, that's kind of sketchy. Neither one of us had no contact. Neither one of us had no contact in 2 months. Neither of us had contact in 2 months. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Rayshana, yeah, this is a little bit complicated because technically you're the dumper, but I'd like to see a little more clarity on how you executed the breakup. Because certainly, if your ex is not investing, that happens sometimes, not a lot, but it happens sometimes where you're the dumper, but you really dumped for a reason because you're either being emotionally abused, your ex is not showing up at all, right? And you've been repeatedly trying to get them to engage in the relationship and they don't care, right? Those are the only exceptions where you want the dumpy to reach out because at the end of the day, it takes two people to make a relationship work. And so if you've been carrying the relationship on your back for 2 years and you finally get frustrated and leave, yes, that's an exception where the dumpy should reach out. But again, I'm curious about the details of how the breakup actually happened, how it was executed, what you said to each other. So book a call if you want to talk because it's a little complicated. But generally speaking, all right, the dumper needs to reach out. And I know you're the dumper, but I want to make allowance because you only going to his house once during a 2-year relationship is kind of weird. Well, it's definitely weird. Anyway, all right. Andy says, will you ever start doing one-on-one calls on the weekends or late afternoon again? Um, Most days I don't, but if you book a call during my regular hours and you ask, sometimes I will be flexible with you. But so yes and no. On my call sheet or my calendar, you're not gonna see weekend or evening calls. But if you book a call during regular hours, you can send me an email and we'll talk. I'll work with you. Okay. Thanks for the message, Andy. Famous says, thank you. And didn't ask him who he's dating. I'm not checking. Just sucks. How many people feel the need to tell me how bad he's doing, partying, dating, etc. I say I don't want to know. Just feel secluded and lonely. I'll stay in no contact. You're the best. Yeah, thank you for your message, famous. This is the other thing I want to add, okay? And you know, there's a tactical slash strategic side of a breakup, which is a lot of the things that I talk about, right? You know, how to handle no contact, how to have conversations with your ex. It's all mostly tactical and like understanding the journey your ex goes through. That's a lot of what the content is focused on in most uh, cases when it comes to breakup recovery. But what you got to know too is there's an emotional side of a breakup. There's no tactic or strategy I can tell you about your ex is going to change how you feel about them. All right. At least not instantly. And so, in some cases, if you're still in love with this person, there's nothing I can tell you that's going to make you just fall out of love instantly. So, give yourself some grace, give yourself a little bit of time to process the breakup, to process what you're going through. Okay. But thank you. So make sure, like, if you have a therapist, if you have friends that you trust, family, definitely lean on them. Okay, and give yourself grace. Hey, do me a favor. If you just joined, hit the like button for me. Hit the like button for me. I appreciate it. So Chris says my ex blocked me on everything, and I went around the block many times out of spite. We once had something special. Do I still have a chance? Well, it doesn't sound like you do. I don't know the details, but Chris, I definitely recognize your name. And you've been following for a while. So I don't know what's gone on since the initial state of your breakup. But if you're not respecting the boundaries, if you're going around the block, that's chasing. And I'm never suggesting you to do that. So when I say pursue, please watch the video I put out today. And when this goes live on the channel, it will, once I end the stream, go watch and you can see the context of what I'm saying. Big picture, what I'm talking about is understanding that there's a dichotomy, there's a masculine and feminine energy. The basis of attraction is polarity. Seriously. If there's no polarity, there's no attraction, opposites, right? And so all I'm really saying when I say pursue is specifically for the men, lean into your masculine energy, lead things to where you want it to go, and do not let her lead you because she'll lead you into the friend zone. Okay. So, Chris, I don't know the details of where exactly you're at right now as far as interaction, but if you're blocked because you're not respecting the boundary, then you're not doing the things that we talk about. Okay. I'm not trying to be harsh on you, bro, because I know we spoke. So I'm not trying to be harsh on you, but you have to get to a point where you really feel like you are a catch and your ex is lucky to have you. So you don't have to go around the block. You don't. That will never work. You're not going to logic your ex back into a relationship. It will not work. This is an emotional journey. So you can't force your way. You can't force feed her something she doesn't want. And as you're seeing, here's the other thing, Chris. You're seeing because you've been trying it, right? It's not working. So at this point, your only chance is no contact. And yes, it's a possibility that now she will never come back. And you're gonna have to live with that, as hurtful as that is. But you will get through this, I promise. But let's see. I don't know the details. If you want to share, book a call and we can talk about it. It be me says, Coach, I think you skipped my question. Where's your question, bro? I don't see your question. Type it again. Thank you. It be me. Type it again and I'll check. Let's see here. And also, let me say, there's a super chat threshold to where it pops up on my screen. I think the threshold is about $4, I believe. Okay. So if it's under $4, just so you know, it's more like it doesn't pop up on my end, so I can't even see it. All right. But I'll look for your question. It be me. Mac Witty. Super Chat says, my girl left beginning of December, no contact immediately. Got word she took it hard and has cried about it since. Have reason to believe she's checking my LinkedIn. Will she contact soon? Probably. But I'm curious about how you're hearing these things. Be very careful. I talk to people all the time. They say, Coach, I've been doing no contact perfectly. And then I find out as we start having a conversation, you're talking to your ex's friend. So you're basically still showing your ex that you're waiting. So McWitty, my only question is, how did you find out all these things? You're still so engaged to her inner circle. If she's crying, which is a good sign, that's such an intimate thing. So it's someone who's close to her, probably, who's telling you these things. So if you're still talking to your ex's friends, trust me, you're not in no contact, or you're delaying them from coming back. But if she's feeling all these emotions, it's working. Just be very careful about who you're talking to, though. Leezy says, my ex broke up with me and blocked me from calling, but still friends on Facebook and a mobile game. We don't talk on the game, help our farm, but help our farms. Should I stop helping to further? Yes. Thank you. So thank you. All right. Absolutely, Leezy. So these are the little things that I get. Thanks for your question. Where you know you're still doing things. Because think about it. Let's propose. If you 100% moved on, right? If you were dating someone else, you wouldn't be investing time into your ex's Facebook game, helping them on the farm. So the very fact that you're doing those things tells her, oh, he still cares about me. He's still watching me. He's still invested in me. The point of no contact and why it works is that your ex is getting nothing. So they start questioning. They start wondering, what is he doing? What is she doing? So if you're sharing locations, if you have a Snapchat streak, if you're watching each other, like things like that, you're not yet in no contact, please. Okay. But thank you for your question, Lizzie. Definitely stop helping on the farm. Clay says, avoidant ex of 2 years broke up with me in November. After chasing, tried no contact. I broke and hooked up in December. Hot and cold since. Now she blocked and unblocked. So one, you broke no contact. You shouldn't have. But the fact that she hooked up with you and got intimate says that there's still something there. Now you say hot and cold since. So hot and cold means, like it's touch and go. You talk today, you don't talk tomorrow, something like that. That's what hot and cold means. So that tells me you're probably initiating. That is not your job. She dumped you, you let her reach out first. So just because you have one good interaction, which you reached out first, you shouldn't have done, doesn't mean that you just get back into the routine, because eventually, especially if she's an avoidant, she's going to run again. So you got to let things move forward at her pace. Again, you're leading it to where you want it to go. But when she's showing interest only is when you move things forward. You don't have a good date and then just start calling her the next day or texting her, oh, let's hang out. Wait for her to come to you. Chris says, I was blocked on everything before I went around it. Sure, I understand that. But let's see here. I was blocked on everything before I went around it, but I'm completely no contact for 2 months. So I was wondering if no contact can work. I mean, again, if I remember, the first time you broke up was either 2023 or late 2022. I can't remember exactly because your name and your profile picture stands out. So I actually remember you, which is good because I'm not great at remembering all the profile pictures and things like that. So anyway, so I don't know when the first time your breakup happened, and if you ever got back to being together in a like long-term relationship. But if you have kept on making mistakes over the last year or so, I mean, she's just gonna get to a point where she doesn't have any feelings for you. All right. But I would still stay no contact. And at this point, okay, how have you been working on yourself? Did you do the things that you said you were gonna do? Are you starting to open up? Assuming you never actually got back together. Again, the breakup happened maybe in late 2022 or early 2023. Have you opened up and started considering dating again? Because if you have her on a pedestal, if you see her as the end all be all, especially after a long, long amount of time, all right, that's when you start chasing her. That's when you start behaving in ways that she's going to think, oh, he's obsessive. He's obsessed with me. And you're always going to end up being dumped. So let her come to you. Gabby Sandoval says, my husband and I are in the process of divorce. He says he's done, but then says he's not going anywhere. And he wished me happy Valentine's Day. We have been intimate. Is he done? Oh, thank you for your question, Gabby. Um, so until you're divorced, it's not over. And even then, I've seen people come back from that. The question would be, have you actually separated? Did you move out of the house? That's it. That's like a big indicator. Has he actually filed for divorce? Okay, he said we're in the process of divorce. Okay, so he's filed. So has he moved out? Right? And what are the day-to-day interactions like? It's not over until like you actually sign those papers. He's moved out of the house. All right. But if he's still being intimate with you without being open to working on the relationship, you also have to start to hold back on the intimacy and things like that and focus more on the relationship. Okay. Can we go on a date? Can we spend time together? If he's not willing to even do that, if he's not willing to meet you halfway, you certainly, as much as you want to connect with him, because I understand that's what it's about. You're like, okay, if I do this, we're going to get closer. So I understand that, but you have to be very careful so he's not just using you in a way. Julia, with super chat says, ex broke up with me 4 months ago. Now he gave me some games for my birthday via Steam. I don't know exactly what Steam is, but okay. He doesn't talk about getting back. He only appears in these dates. What does that mean? So okay, let me just make some assumptions because I'm not clear exactly that last part there. So let's say, you start spending time with your ex. This is specifically for the ladies. He's asking you out and he's taking you on dates because that's what it should be. Okay. If he left you, he kind of re-engages in the courtship process. Well, you want him to lead. You want him to bring up, relationship topics. You want him to bring up fixing things, certainly. But let's say he's not doing it. There is a time, provided he's been courting you consistently, he's showing up, he's taking on dates. After you get to 2 months of dating consistently after no contact, you can be as clear as direct and say, what are we doing? What are your intentions? What are you what exactly you're looking for? Okay. You need to, because you don't want to stick around and he's just showing up, seeing you when he wants and leaving. Okay. So the more time you spend together, the more you start to, make sure there's clarity on expectations. But as long as he's dating you, because here's the thing about a guy, if a guy is not interested in a relationship, he's going to just try to hook up with you. So he's not going to be willing to take you on dates. So this is specifically for the ladies. If he dumps you, spending time together is not him coming over and hooking up with you. Let's be clear. And a guy's not going to want to take you on dates if he doesn't have genuine interest. So make sure you hold back on intimacy. but you should be spending time together. You don't have to pressure, but if he's courting you and he's taking you on dates, you just have to assume he has good intentions. Okay, let's look at it. Be me says, I give up, man. Third two. Like, here's the thing, and I think that's your problem. You're sending two I think $2 super chat. So it's not popping on my thing. So you probably have a long question, but let's go look for it. Let's look for it. But that's your problem is you're sending a small super chat. So you don't have a, like a long word count. I think that's your problem. So it be me. So I'm looking for you. Okay. So this is your question, I believe. Let's see here. Been separated almost 4 months. She's been in a long distance rebound for almost 3 months now. Do you think it will work out for her? No contact since November. Well, I hope you're actually fully in no contact because you seem to know, because long distance, maybe you're finding these things out on social media. So I'm going to assume you're doing no contact properly. If she's in a relationship, all right. You called it a long distance rebound. I'm going to assume that means she's with someone else and in a relationship. Well, you let that relationship run its course. If it's a rebound, generally, like again, the relationships on their own, they're already difficult. They're not easy. It's not easy to have someone to meet someone, on the first try, especially. Like if she just met this guy where you're compatible and everything's clicking on all cylinders. And then it's long distance. So again, chances that it's going to be successful is likely slim, but you have to let that relationship run its course. You're not supposed to be reaching out to her. I hope you're not. You said no contact since November. Um, so let her date whoever she wants to date. She's not your problem currently. Okay. Now, if it's a rebound, the other question is, was she like, did she monkey branch? Did she start talking to this guy while you were together? Did you find out was she actually cheating on you? That's important because that speaks about integrity. But when your ex is actually in a relationship with someone else, there's no telling how long that relationship is gonna last. Sometimes it's 3 months. Like if they actually went as far as giving the relationship a title, think about it. Even if it's a rebound, you've all certainly been on dates where you date, like you go on a few dates and nothing comes of it. But if they got to a point where they actually felt the need to give it a title, you don't know how long it's going to last, even if it's a rebound. It might be 3 months, might be 6 months. Generally, it's not going to last long if it's a rebound, but you can't control that. So you certainly should not be waiting, my friend. It be me. But thank you for your question, bro. All right, let's see here. We got, huh, hmm, where am I? Okay, I gotta wrap this up here. So I'm gonna get through the super chats here. So we're wrapping up, but thank you for all your questions. Let me get through all the super chats here. Echo. Okay. Echo G says 6 years. We have seen each other out here and there and been super nice and feels like everything is normal. Our anniversary is coming up and want to send her sunflowers with a note. Is that a bad idea? Yes. These are the subtle things that I'm talking about. Why I say your focus should not be relationship. Think about it. Sending her flowers on your anniversary. What does that say? And thank you for your question. All right. I'm not trying to be hard on you, but hear me closely. Sending her flowers on a special day to the both of you that says, "Hey, I'm ready to get back together." All right. These are the subtle things that says, "Hey, this means a lot to me." And also the times where you met each other out, I'm curious if you were approaching her, if you were the one walking up to her versus you see her across the room, you wave to her, you're polite. Let's say she walks up to you. Yes, you can engage, but you're quickly re-engaging with your friends and the people that you came with. All right. So I'm curious about, that. Also, I don't know because you didn't specify Echo how long you guys have been in no contact, but please do not send her flowers on your anniversary. It's not a good idea. And it also depends how long have you actually been in no contact. If you've been in no contact for a month and you're trying to make such a drastic move, it's too much too soon. Doesn't work most times. Let's see, Chris. We got back together once, broke up 5 months ago. So you broke up 5 months ago, but you said you've only been in no contact for 2 months. So you stayed in contact, maybe begging, chasing, trying to force communication until she blocked you. And then you went around the block. So you've certainly made a lot of mistakes. Like, I would be more focused on letting her go. If she comes back, yeah, you apply the things that we teach. But Chris, again, I remember you're like you've been on this back and forth for sure for some time. So, and then you broke up 5 months ago, and you only went into no contact 2 months ago. That's just mistakes. Like, you can't control it. All right, there's a chance she reaches out, but my focus would not be that, just because of all the mistakes and how long this breakup has been going on. Dara. All right. So after Julia, so no more super chats. We gotta wrap this up, please. But thank you for all your questions. All right, I appreciate it. Let's see here. Dara says, my ex sent my ex sent my dog a birthday card with money. Wrote, buy the biggest stuffed animal. Dog birthday was 122. I got the card on 2/9. My birthday is 2/11. Should I respond? I'm the same person that X sent. So I can't, let me just see. I'm trying to look at your picture. I can't tell, but so I'm going to make an assumption because I can't tell if you're a guy or a gal because I can't see the picture. But it just kind of looks like from the distance, it seems like you're a lady. So again, if he sent a gift card to your animal or sent it over text, it's okay to say thank you, but that's it. I wouldn't like initiate anything else. Just say thank you. All right. If he wants to see you, he can ask you out. All right. So the most you should say to that is thank you, appreciate it, something like that, and see if he does anything else with it. So G Royal and Faye, when you send a super chat, if you don't put your question with it, I have to go start digging and trying to find it. And a lot of times I don't see it. So next time, be sure to pair your super chat with your question. But I'm gonna go look right now. So maybe type your question again if you had one. G Royal and Faye. All right, let's go look. G Royal. Um, hmm. G Royal. G Royal. And I don't see anything from G Royal or Faye. Don't see anything. So I'm gonna assume that those were donations. If you had a question, G Royal or Faye, please drop it right now. I'm gonna try to find it, but I don't see it. Okay. If you send a super chat without your question, if you don't combine the two, I'm telling you, YouTube, it's very it gets lost basically. Okay. So, and I think there's a character count. So I understand like there's a different threshold, and maybe your question was a little bit longer, and um, so I get that. But I'm just telling you on the back end, I cannot see your question. So make sure you're pairing the two together. All right, let's see. And same goes for Grubsy. Let's see. Let's look for Grubsy because you're saying you sent the super chat, Grubsy. Okay, so I'm done taking super chat, guys. So please, okay, I want to make sure I answer all the super chats. So let's uh but thank you all, okay? Appreciate it. Grubsy. Oh, Grubsy, I didn't let's see. Hold on. I sure see a question from Grubsy. Where is it? Gosh, Grubsy. Where is he? Okay, Grubsy, I got your question. Grubsy says, "Hi, I've been in no contact for 3 months and recently found out she unblocked me on Instagram. We didn't end on good terms. She still didn't reach out. There's nothing to do. Unblocking you is indirect. I don't know how long ago she unblocked you, but that's a good sign. Okay, she's opening the door for you to pursue her, but it's not enough. Okay, even though I said yes, the feminine is going to be indirect for sure, but that's not nearly enough. She can directly text your phone or give you a call. So do not do anything just because she unblocked you. That's not going to cut it. So let's look one more time for G Royal and Faye, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Okay, so there's G Royal. G Royal says dated for a year. I'm 29, she's 31. I wanted things too quickly, living together, very much in love. Told her I want told her I want to take it slow, but she can't trust because I said that before. Yeah, so even after the breakup, that tells me the fact that she's telling you I can't trust, that means even after the breakup, you're not doing no contact, right? Because she's telling you something in response to what you're saying. That's how I understand your question. You said very much in love. Told her I want to take it slow. So you're only saying that as a result of her dumping you. And she's like, no, I can't trust you now because you said that before. So the first step in showing her that you're willing to take it slow is actually to go no contact. If she doesn't hear from you, that's a clear indication that, okay, something's changed. He's not being obsessive. He's not blowing up my phone. He's not trying to force me back into a relationship. Okay. So definitely taking things slow. Now, I'm not sure how long you both dated. You said 1 year. Yeah, that's kind of fast. Kind of fast to move in together after a year. So someone says, how do I contact you? So if you want to book a call, if you go to my channel, there's a link and you can book a coaching call, okay? Over there. All right. But thanks for the question. Let's wrap this up. Okay. So we are Ike. Ike says 76 days no contact, brother. Not a word from her. I'm the dude with the homegirl. I'm the dude with the homegirl that I started dating serious for 6 months. She hasn't blocked me on X, but we unfriended each other. Losing hope at this point. I mean, 76 days, like you're not even at 90 days no contact. Again, it's not really about counting the days, but you know, I understand that feeling. Like you have to work on this, like during this process, on trying to detach. I would certainly not reach out to her, bro. You're not yet at a point. I understand 76, like you're counting the days. I get it. It was just 7 to 6 days. In my experience, I've seen people come back after 4 months. I've seen people come back after 2 years. Now you shouldn't be waiting for 2 years, okay? Just so clear. But I understand the hope thing. Like there's two separate sides of no contact. One is attraction, right? Raising their interest. And the other is about yourself, working on yourself, healing, detaching. You kind of have to try to pursue both with most of your focus being on yourself, most of it. And you let her come to you. And I understand, I get it. But you got to let her come to you because that's when it's going to matter. If you reach out prematurely, you call her, you send a letter. Trust me, I talk to people every day. They sent the letters, all right? They reach out, and even sometimes the ex is positive. It's like, okay, yeah, let's get together, and they go for coffee. So it's not a romantic vibe. The ex's interest is not really there because she's not the one who reached out to you. She's just kind of going along with it. So striking while the iron is hot is what matters most. Okay. Let's see. Julia. He's not seeing me. I'm in no contact, but he congratulated me by messages and gave me these online games. He only texts on special dates. He broke up. Well, depending on how long you've been in no contact, if he's not agreeing to see you, he's not seeing me. That tells me you've initiated getting together and he said no. That's kind of how I understand that. But he keeps texting you and sending games. Yeah, like you're at a point, if this has been going on for multiple weeks and months, you're at a point where you say, hey, like, I appreciate the games and stuff, but I don't see you as a friend. So if you want to keep reaching out and talking about games, I'd appreciate it if you stop texting me. Okay, so you really draw a line in the sand. If he's been reaching out, never initiating getting together, and then you ask getting together and he said no. After that point, you got to tell him to stop texting you because he's wasting your time. Rayshana says, our relationship was fun and passionate. He showed up consistently as an interested man would. Let's scroll up. Let's see your first question. Rayshana. Dun, 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 dun. I can't find your first question. Rayshana. Well, I don't know if you had a first question, but again, what your ex did while you were still together, that's amazing, but it doesn't count post breakup, right? So he might have been interested at the time, but if his interest level goes low, he breaks up with you, and then now since the breakup, when he reaches out to you, he's not courting you. He's just like, hey, you want to come to my house, or let's hook up. That's, for whatever reason, currently, he's just trying to consume you. He's just trying to use you. So you shouldn't let that happen. All right. So be very cautious what they did during the relationship. It's a good sign. It says, okay, in the relationship, they had good intentions. That's good. But look at what are they doing since the breakup? It me says, thank you, coach. We were together 7 years. I think you're saying she monkey branched. Yeah, don't reach out to her if she monkey branched. All right, let's see. Ray Shauna says, I asked him, would I know that you're not going, how would I know that you're not going home to another relationship? He didn't have a solid answer. And when he left, I told myself I was done guessing. Yeah, that's good. And again, I don't have the full context of how everything built up, when the breakup happened, and if this is all post breakup, no contact stuff. I can't tell. But setting boundaries for him is fine. That is totally fine. But if he's reaching out to you after the breakup, you don't have to rush into commitment. Just see if he's going to court you properly and take you on dates. That's like the big thing. Is he willing to court you properly? Is he willing to take you on dates? Very important. Okay. All right. Okay. So the last super chat is from Emily Sanders. Just says, just want to thank you. You've made my hard time a lot easier. I'm grateful. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the feedback. And stay strong. I'm glad you find the videos helpful. I hope this video gives you clarity on the situation um, that I was talking about in today's video. There is a difference between masculine and feminine energy, and that's the basis of attraction, and there's no way around it. Okay, I promise you. um, where men and women are not only biologically different, okay, not to get into that kind of stuff, but we're also socialized different, right? So the expectations of who does what, these things have been wired into us, since you're a kid. So a lot of times people tend to function in the roles that they're used to. Okay, so when you get an opportunity, make sure, all right, you just focus on playing your role. Okay. Hope this is helpful, guys. Thank you so much for watching. All right. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the comments. And again, I'm looking forward to so somewhat, this is the other thing. And I will say this, okay. I'll say this here before we close. The last question is from Sue Maya. Okay. The thing is, you got to be willing to invest the time to watch the video. Okay. So just again, hop in, come in. Like, this is going to go live on my channel and post. So if you didn't come early, don't worry. It's going to post on my channel. I address the topic in like the first, 15 or so minutes. So just invest the time and watch it. Okay. So the question is says, should we break no contact or not? Don't break no contact if they dump you. Okay, please. There's context behind what I was saying. So watch this video, watch the video that I posted earlier so you get the full context. Okay. I wish you well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.